the first time I saw the national team playing was juniors, and was when Lucas Mata started. Like I'll say generation, but no, like he's like 4 years older than me. So when he was playing in juniors, I was in one division less, and it was, looking after how Lucas does with the mechanics and everything. I remember recording him on one of those huge film, camcorders, trying to see the mechanics, and now you can do it with a freaking phone. I always tell the kids, like, Lily,
Can you imagine seeing him squat behind the whole plate?
got the tripod and the NTV news camera.
Get out of here! I told you, Mr. Drama.
I used to be a ladies' man, but I'm a man now. For courting 6 girls, all at once they used me.
Say bye-bye baseball!
My mother said it was naughty, I should take some years back. But I said if it's naughty, sure it's also very fine.
And the Lolly drops his glove, grabs Dalton. The benches are clearing.
Dust Up with Hilly and Lolly is brought to you by CoolBet. If you got a few extra bucks rattling around in your arse pocket, CoolBet Sportsbook will double your first deposit up to $200 when you use the bonus code DUSTUP. Head over to coolbet.com and get in on the fastest growing entertainment sector in the world. That bonus code again is DUSTUP, one word, all capital letters, DUSTUP. Welcome back, folks. Episode 20 of Dust Up with Hilly and Lolly, and we are taking it international this week, Hilly. We got our great buddy Juan Potolicchio coming on the podcast with us.
Yeah, man. Some more international flavor to the show. Our good buddy from Argentina. His accent is probably a little bit stronger than mine and yours. So I don't know if this is on TV, you might need some subtitles or something like that. But obviously, Juan is a hell of a pitcher. He's a hell of a dude, and he's carved out a great career for himself.
Yeah, he's one of those special ball players that he's a character in the game. You love having him on your team. He's one of those guys that lights up the beer tent, makes being on the road fun, and just a fierce competitor in the circle. He's put together a hell of a career, 2-time ISC champ with the Gremlins, and 2019 win the Pan Am Games and the WBSC with Argentina. We'll get to go through all that with him. But one of the true beauties in the game. Let's get into it. Juan Potolicchio. Here he is, Hilly. Juan Potolicchio, Argentinian superstar, now in Guatemala. We got him on?
What's up, Juan, buddy?
Hello, guys. Really, really nice to be here. Thank you very much for having me. I think you guys are going to have a lot of people, connected to this podcast, just trying to understand what I'm talking about. My English is not the best. I've been learning from USA and Canucks. For almost 20 years. I got a couple of Kiwis and Aussies telling me how to speak ghetto oceanic English. Yeah. And actually I got a lot of stories learning English, man. I went from places like you would never believe. Like I literally walked into a Taco Bell once asking for a pink taco. And I really thought that was a normal thing to say. And they were laughing.
Right? And this is who you get to surround yourself with in the softball community.
Yeah,
but we're lucky because I look at you, a guy that from Argentina, there's the language barrier exists there, especially now with how many ball players from your country are playing over here. But you've been, I don't know, it pisses me off sometimes. You come out into a huddle and you're telling jokes in English, and it's amazing how you've been able to fluently just learn English, and it really allows you to fit in on new teams, bring guys that are coming over into the fold, and it's awesome. So, yeah, you're a little tough to understand, though, buddy, but half the people we get on here got weird accents, so... Okay. You're all right. You're all right.
I'm not tougher than a Newfoundlander. That's for sure. Freaking, when Sean Clary drinks 1 or 2 beers, I can't understand what the fucking beverage is there. It's like that. Once, I swear to God, we were playing, Clary and myself, we were playing AAU for the Gremlins. And after a while, we went outside for a drink, outside of the house we were staying in Orlando. And he's talking to me, and I'm literally having the Looney Tunes on my head playing games because I couldn't understand a thing he was saying. What the fuck, dude? Sorry, I can't do it. Yeah, I can see that, Lally, you're a little upset when I tried to steal your thunder with the jokes.
Yeah, it pissed me off, but it kicked off 15, 20-year friendship, and it's been good. But yeah, don't go stealing my thunder in the huddle with the jokes, man.
We could do a run of jokes sometime. Maybe not this time. I could tell you why Canada is called Canada. You probably guys, you probably heard this one, right? Okay, let's start this with a joke. Canada, eh? So you got this beautiful place. They found this beautiful place. They want to name it. So one of the guys is like, well, what about, you can cut this off, Lally, if you don't want it later.
I love it.
We're going to try to do a short. Yeah, here we go. So they found this beautiful place. They want to name it. So one of the guys is like, well, what about, this place is beautiful. What about Beautiful Land? So the guy is like, oh, no, that's too cheesy. Too cheesy. No, let's change it. So the other guy is like, well, it's full of maples. What about Maple Leaf Land? So the guy is like, well, no, that's too much. We can put it on a flag, but for a name, that's too much, right? So the third guy is like, I got an idea. Let's do the same thing the southern neighbors did. They put a bunch of letters in a bowl. They pick up 3 letters, and they made up a name. They pick USA, and they said United States of America. We do the same thing. Bunch of letters in a bowl, we pick up. So the third guy is like, okay, good idea. He puts his hand on the bowl, shake it. He's like, okay, I got it. C, eh? N, eh? D, eh?
See? Look at this. How can you compete with that in a huddle, boys, right? Buddy, it's wicked. And I can't tell you how great it is to get you on here, see you on the Zoom, have a beer, and just get caught up, especially after the last few years of we talk about it on here. You take it for granted. You don't get to see it, but it's pretty cool to get you and your take, especially knowing how prominent Argentinian softball is on the international stage within the WBSC and the Pan Am Games, and the influx of ball players that have come over to join the ISC and make up a lot of the top teams now. And we couldn't pick a better guy to come on and give that side of it. One, yeah, you can speak English. That helps a lot. but there's not many people, I'm sure, in the history of Argentina softball that have done what you've done in the sport of fast pitch. And that's where I want to start, because we have a lot of guys that come on here that are either from U.S. We had Shalesy on, kind of giving what it was like over in Australia. And I'm interested to know what the landscape was like in Argentina as a young guy, and what it was like when you started taking the game seriously to get to where you are now. Can you kind of lay it out for us and our listeners? What was softball like in Argentina when you broke into it?
Well, thank you for the introduction. That's pretty good. I feel a little flattered.
It's pretty good. Hey, it's pretty good. Build them up.
Actually, it's a lot better here having an interview than having to face you guys swinging. But even Lally, he wants to just destroy my freaking ball.
Well, no. Before you go into this Argentina, I'm gonna call you out right now, and because we've been facing each other for the last however long.
You don't like curveballs.
That fucking curveball, man. I think it should be banned.
You don't like curveballs.
But we never grew up with a curveball, Hilly. Right?
No,
it's up, down, change. We don't see it. If it's spinning like that, it got to go up.
You always give me shit every time I talk about a lefty and his curveball. You're like, well, we face righties and we don't complain. Here you are complaining about the curveball.
No. Lefty is just a natural thing. All right, lefty's got a natural curve. This guy got to freaking wrench it over. But that's just a core pitch down there, is it? Or is that something that you you kind of kicked it off?
No, actually, well, I think back in the years, the Cubans used it a lot. The Venezuelans used it a lot. So that was a thing that a couple of Argentinians had, and we just passed it through. Seba and myself, we liked it a lot, so we use it many times. But right now, the youngest players, they just stick with the drop ball, rice ball, and change-ups. And, well, you got Pablo that he's got a nasty slurve, which is way better than a freaking curveball. Yeah. That's way better than a curveball. But, I don't know, it was something that started working when I was growing up, and I just stick with it. And I started using it even more when you start swinging to those.
Yeah.
But you know what? You can thank Bruno about that.
Bruno Matroni? Yeah?
Yeah. He's the one calling it. I never shake Bruno.
Yeah, well, he and I are going to have a pretty long chat about that when the first tournament of the year. But when did you realize you wanted to be a pitcher in fast pitch softball? What got you started in that?
So it's pretty funny. Like I was doing every single sport. I remember my mom used to say that when I was 12, I asked her to get out of the house to go to play sports, and I came back when I was 27. So I was playing a ton of sports. I love it. Every single sport I play, I love it. And until I found softball, and I fell in love. And I think that I fell in love because it was super tough for me. And one of the reasons is because I'm lefty. And on the team I start playing, they don't have lefty gloves.
So you're a natural lefty.
Well, yeah, I'm a natural lefty. I kick.
Wild.
I write. And I do the too many things on the bathroom with the left hand. but that's too much information. Sorry, Mrs. I'm really sorry about what you gotta hear. But yeah, the thing is like I had to learn how to play with the right hand. And once I start windmill and I start pitching, I love it. It was love on the first side. I always said that after I put a glove on my hand, my heart turned with seams on it and some spin, because it was addictive, man. I love it. It was so fun, and even more, was super fun to do something that just a small amount of people did in Argentina. Because here, soccer, our football, it's huge. We don't have we don't have ice hockey. We have field hockey. You probably guys hate that.
Yeah.
But it's everything. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is soccer or basketball or other sports. Softball is super, super small. And then, so I start playing it. My town is like 2 hours from Paraná. So we start traveling there. And I start making friends as soon we start facing each other. And then we start, like, when I start pitching and I start doing a little better, we start playing, me and other 2 more guys on the state team. And we start playing for Paraná, actually, when we were from different state. And that's when I start learning, like, the real meaning of friendship in sports. And we were talking before about how addictive is softball. And I think one of the most addictive things it has is the camaraderie, like the friendship, like how you became brothers with people that probably lives in a different kind of the world. Like literally, I have a ton of nieces and nephews in US, in Venezuela, in New Zealand, in Australia, just people that we love each other like brothers. And every time we see it, I got grandsons and granddaughters in other parts of the world, and that's things of fast pitch, things of softball. So that's amazing, and that's something I loved from the sport.
Awesome, man. But I assume that Lucas and maybe a couple others, Lucas Mata and a couple other guys might have had some influence on this, but when did you first start to, or realize that you could travel in this game, or when did you hear about ISC ball or ball that was played in North America?
Well, I always have the hope of playing. Never thought about getting paid to play. Like, you know, you gotta be stupid to pay me. I will do it for free. I love this. But so I really always thought that my chance to travel and to play would be with the national team. So the first time I saw the national team playing was juniors, and was when Lucas Mata started. Like, I'll say generation, but no, like he's like 4 years older than me. So when he was playing in juniors, I was in one division less, and I was, you know, looking after how Lucas does with the mechanics and everything. I remember recording him on one of those huge film, you know, camcorders, trying to see the mechanics, and now you can do it with a freaking phone. I always tell the kids, like, Lily,
Can you imagine seeing him squat behind the whole plate?
got the tripod and the NTV news camera.
And dude, I was in South America. That means like we are 5 years behind on technology. So that camera was huge when you started having like a middle-sized camera. But now you learn how to pitch, and you can go and Google every single major pitcher and look at the mechanics. That's what I always say to the kids. Like, when I start teaching a kid how to pitch, I look at their mechanics, look at their natural motion, and try to find a major pitcher that has a motion like them. And I said, just Google this guy. Go Google Sean Clary. Go Google Juan Mata. Look at these and these and these of him. They have every single information on their freaking cell phone. You know, you can do it easily. We had to go and watch movies of baseball to see someone, you know,
right,
showing a swing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the biggest influence was probably Lucas and Julio Gamarsi. And I remember one night, because I was in a different city and I was playing for a team of Paraná, I was staying at Julio Gamarsi's. At the time was, you know, like a bachelor path, like, you know, his apartment. And I love it because he was one of the only guys that travels to US, and his apartment was all about softball. So you could see bats and pictures with Meredith and pictures with Darren Sack. Mm-hmm. So I love it. Every time I went to his apartment, I would be 4 hours on the wall just looking at it. And then I found one video of Fast Pitch the movie.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I watched it. And I loved it. And if you guys ever watched that video, I mean, you look at the way the foreigners lived, and you were like, no freaking way. I don't want to live in a broke-ass house like that. I don't want to drive a car that is almost broke every time you start it. But I loved it. It's like, I want to do this. And so I always got ISC on my mind. And I went to play juniors in 2001 to Sydney, Australia. Mm-hmm. That was where Kirkpatrick was pitching. Well, actually, where Kirkpatrick won it for Australia. And that was I was pitching with Seba. And I had a really good game against US. And the coach of US came and talked to me. He wanted me to play in US for a team. I think it was a NAFA team at the time. And for me, it was like going to major leagues. Literally, like, yeah. He can't my dream. I want to do it. I got everything set up. I went back to Argentina. I got my visa. I told my dad that I'm going to put a year on college, like in a standby, because I want to do that. And then September 11 came, and that was impossible to fly to US.
Right.
So I had to wait for 3 more years. And Julio hooked me up with a team called the Bull Tone Line, which was a good team to start, but a really, really bad influence team for the outside of the field chemistry. Oh my God, they had too many stories of me.
Yeah, but with that town line, because you were there the year before I was there, right? Mm-hmm. So
yes,
was
indeed.
That 2004 would have been your first year coming over to play in the ISC, and it was a pretty cool. I'm glad we were our age when we went there. I'm not sure I'd want to join that team, being married, having kids, and just all the off the field. It was a party time. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But
Amazing.
it was a really good stepping stone because you're playing within that Wisconsin Travel League. And you said you figured out that the ISC exists from watching the ISC movie, and you knew that Lucas Matta and those guys came over here. But when you made that jump, you're playing in the hotbed of ISC men's fast pitch in the world, right there in Green Bay, Wisconsin. What was your first impression when you showed up to some of these big tournaments like the Grafenmeyer or the Eau Claire Classic, and you're going in and you're seeing some of these players that you saw on that video for the first time?
So the first tournament we played was in Rockford, Illinois. And probably that tournament, Townline was the best team. And the one next to that was Aurora, Dolan Murphy. So we show up with Seva. We saw the level of the tournament. We saw the level of the pitchers. And we were like, fuck it, we're going to rock ISC. Like literally, it's like, oh my God, this is so easy. I mean, it's easier than at home. And we went there. We didn't win the tournament. It was our first tournament. And we were young. We were like 20, 21. And, but our impression was like, this is bullshit, dude. Everybody that comes here and talks about how hard it is and blah, blah, blah. And then we went to Decatur. And that was the weekend where we met the farm. We met Circle Top. We met County Materials. Broken Bow. So, and you know what? This is super funny. So, I got a pitch against the farm, and so they got Donnie Hale, they got Dean Holloway, they're packed. You play for the farm, and you know how big was the team. And I'm playing with Jeff Gulligan, and the game is going 0-0 until the 5th. So. By the third out of the 5th, I struck out Donnie Hale. And I came back to the bench, and Goalie is like, hey, dude, you're doing super good. I'm like, yeah, thank you. Like, no, this is easy. And he goes like, oh, dude, you just struck out the best hitter in the world. I'm like, who? Like that big guy is one of the best hitters in the world. I'm like, for real? It's like, yeah, that guy and that guy. And that guy, and that guy, and that guy. I'm like, oh my God, dude, he just fucked me off. 6th inning, I couldn't get out of the 6th inning. Literally.
Way to go, Gooley.
Dude, I became the most popular pitcher in that place. You know why? Because they pay the kids 25 cents to retrieve the balls. Everyone made like $15, dude. Like literally, I got pounded. The kids love me. It's like, dude, they're gonna buy me a PlayStation with all the home runs they hit on you. But yeah, that was a good taste of reality, and that was like the next dream of my career. It's like I want to play there. I want to be part of those teams. I'm not going to stop just coming to US. I'm not going to stop just having the opportunity. I want to be there. And I think that was the biggest and the best click on my career, discovering that thirst to be in those teams or to be part of those guys that everybody's looking for and everybody wants to shake the hand of. So that was amazing. ISC literally was just an eye-opener for me and a lovely thing.
Awesome. That's awesome, man. So, yourself and Seba and say Lucas Matta, and I'm sure there's some older guys that I probably don't know, kind of paved the way with, from the Argentina kids to come over to North America. So back then there was literally a sprinkle of Argentinians over here now there's a sprinkle of Argentinians on every fucking team. So,
I'm gonna stop you there. This is funny, right? The first ISC, we took a picture and we were 4, right? On 2019 ISC, we took a picture of all the Argentinians and we were 55.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure that everybody thought that, after 20 years, we'll be 55 Argentinians. But I bet everybody thought that instead of players would be like 50 of my sons. But that didn't happen. Touche. To any one of them that thought about that, it's touche, dude. Not even one kid. And 55 Archies playing here.
I don't even know what I was going to say.
You're right. We got a couple of Archie fuckers in every single team.
So I mean, surely that contributes to this. You look at your national team from back then to where it is now, right? And you know, obviously, I'm just totally fucked there now.
He can't talk. Come on, dude, be serious. Be serious.
Yeah. So anyway, right on. You guys are pretty good.
I get the idea. Yeah. The national team. The growing of the national team has to do a lot with the players coming to US for sure, but it has to do a lot with the new idea of growing up a team. I always said we had a lot of difference with Julio Gamarsi, too many actually. But there's one thing that I believe he's been great at, and he wants to change the idea of our sport. Our sport in Argentina was just a fun sport to do on the weekends before or after going to drink. And our idea was to change that and to show that we have athletes. Maybe none of them, not all of them, they look like it. I mean, we're either skinny, we are either bald, short, and a little fat. Like,
well, you can hit and throw though.
Wink.
Well, he didn't mean it, Bruno. He's only joking, Bruno.
Come on, dude. I thought we're not gonna bring names here. Wow, Bruno, that was your teammate. It's not me. That was your teammate. But yeah, the idea was to bring athletes to the sport. So we train a lot, and we bring that magic that became, I said, 40, 50 years ago, the dream of every one of those players. And the good thing about the Argentinian players is like the opportunity they had to make it better, they did. I always said, like Sebastian, myself, we try to bring a lot of Argentinian players to US, but we always choose the best players in the field, and we always choose people that will make look Argentina or will make look our culture good in US. We never brought, sorry about the word, but we never brought a jerk off, person to ISC, because as soon as you bring someone like that, he will kill the atmosphere, or they will kill the opportunity of other Argentinians to develop. And all of those things, and even more, the way we could form, the way we could build a team, the way we could build a family inside the team. I think that was what took us in 2019 to do that magic that happened all the time. Yeah. And you know what? I think the most important thing of 2019 is actually the managers realized that to win the tournament, they got to sit me. So I was on the bench and we won.
We got to dive into so much of that, man, because one of the things that we were most excited about getting you on was to understand a little bit more about the development of the national team program in Argentina. You're the current WBSC World Champs, and the run that you guys put off in 2019 to beat Japan in the final. We're going to go into that tournament in detail in a minute, but the road to get to that place, that started back, as you described, when you were 20 years old. You're older than dirt right now, and you finally became the world champ. That you guys set that out as a country, and it came from the sacrifice and getting people to play in the U.S. But from the training aspect, with the weather that you guys down there, is it, from what we see, is that you guys are with the national team all year round if you're in that program? Is that a fact that the players on that team are together training all year round?
Okay, so I'll go a little back on the time. Argentina didn't have any founding help before. So the Argentina national team was just a selection. Would be like, this tournament is coming, and this is, I'm talking like way back on the years. So this tournament is coming. We're gonna train 15 days before the tournament, and we're gonna show up in the airport because all we could have is the flights and the hotels. Then became a part where we had a little bit of money coming for the team so we could train. But that was like, if I don't remember bad, it was like just once every 15 days for 3 months before the tournament. And then we went to the point in 2010 where we had help from the government as money-wise. So what they did is like they give us each player by your name, I'll say around $500 per month, right? The idea was, okay, we take part of that money, but half of the money will be invested in training, in uniforms, and equipment. So if the government gives you $250, you get $500, you gotta give to the team $250. So with that money, we had the chance to train a little bit more, and we start training a little bit more when Eduardo Sabate was the coach. We start touring a little bit more. We start going around a little bit more, and then we had a little bit. The idea, we brought a little bit the idea of the family, of the team as a family. That idea that is cultivated by the Kiwis, by New Zealand, by the Black Sox. Mm-hmm. The idea that doesn't matter where you're from in New Zealand, if you play for the national team, you all guys are brothers. I don't know if they feel it, if they live it that way, but I can tell you that they talk that way, and we bought it. We completely bought it. And we started with that idea. I think it took us 10 more years, or at least 7 more years to understand it and to build that idea. And it went to the point where Julio Gamarsi took the national team. He took it, the entire team, with statistics, with scouting, with training, with gym, with running, with dividing the training so the pitchers will train one way with their coach, the hitters will train another way with their coach. Like everything was set. And I think that was the big change. We train every day, maybe not with the bats, maybe not with the gloves, but every day there's something to do. We did a lot of things. I started reading psychology. I mean, I didn't know I was that lunatic, that crazy.
That's dangerous, bud. That is dangerous.
Oh no, dude, that works so good with the ladies. That was the best thing I could do in my entire life. I mean, I thought that was good for softball. For the ladies, is amazing. But for real, we started learning about sports psychology, and we start having a team that actually eats, train, and breathe together. We were doing military, like I don't know how you call it, but like a boot camp with the national team on the cold. We were hiking a big mountain in Argentina a couple of times. Like we were doing stuff to build a team, not just to train. We were building the team. And
it was your job, basically.
Yeah. And well, everybody else got a job. Like I remember, this is crazy. Mariano Montero, right now, he's the captain for the national team. Mm-hmm. So he works for a hotel/casino. And he was coming to train around 3:00 afternoon. And after that, this is winter. I mean, it's not your winter. It's a little mild, but it's winter. And he was taking a shower on the dugout with a hose, and putting his suit again to go back to work.
Wow.
Literally, you get people with families, and they were doing a double job. the Argentina national team and their normal job. And I'm telling you, the money the government pay the players is not enough to be a second job. It's just an excuse to tell your family you got to go to train. I'm telling you, it doesn't make any difference.
Though. That is like the sacrifice that needs to go into being a part of that team. But the opportunity that the organization and the government put in place for you guys to be able to be together as a team. Yes, as I said, it comes with a ton of sacrifice, but the success that your team has had over the last number of years, and specifically in 2019, it's not by accident. It's through a ton of hard work and not just playing well and training skill, but it's interesting to hear the approach to building that team chemistry. And you can tell that when you see all the Argentinian players, whether they're at an event wearing the Argentina colors or they're around an ISC tournament, you can tell that brotherhood is there. It's really cool to get a behind-the-scenes look on how that came to be.
Think about this. So Paraná is the national capital of softball, right? That's where the best teams, the best stadiums, the best organizations are based. So when Julio Gamarsi started with the juniors, they went and they do scouting with a lot of kids all around the country. And they convinced them and they convinced their families to make the kids move to Paraná, to live in Paraná. So that's when Mata moved to Paraná when he was 16. Juan Sara moved to Paraná when he was 15. And you get a ton of kids like that. So it's not just the sacrifice of these kids. It's not just a sacrifice of their families. It's another sacrifice. It's the family that was hosting those kids all that time, right? They were feeding them, they were hosting them, they were making them part of their family. And that became a huge thing because when people was doing their interviews, they were interviewing the players. And we got an entire city. I won't say an entire city. We have an entire softball community that was part of that success. When I was 17, I moved from my hometown team to my team in Paraná. And I remember the ones that invited me was the first division, but I was still being junior, so I could play the two divisions. And I remember I showed up to play with the juniors, and there was one kid, at the time he was probably 15, and he asked me, he's like, "So Juan, where are you staying tonight?" And I said, "I don't know. I think I got to go to either Julio's or I got to go to either another one of the first division players." And he goes like, "Oh, no, you're coming to my house." That was the first time he said it. And every weekend from there to I was 20 something, I was spending my weekend at his house because I could play in Paraná that way. And his family became like my second family and stuff like that. So every player that you see in Argentina that made a sacrifice to be part of the national team and to be world champion, you get a ton of people behind that helped it and that was part of it. And one of the things that I think that made us world champions was before that we have an entire team training or playing to be part of the national team. Then nobody was training to be world champion. Then later we had 2 or 5 players that they were training to be ISC champions, and the rest of the team just wants to be part of the national team. 2019, everybody was training to be world champion or Pan American champion. And that makes a difference.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you to what you're just talking about there. So what was exactly the path to becoming world champions with regards to, okay, now we're finally on the international stage, we're competing, we're beating some teams, and now we're at a certain stage where we're keeping up with the big boys, the top 3 or top 4, top 5, whoever they are in your mind, to now all of a sudden, you know what, we got a shot to win this thing. At what point did that become, obviously it was a goal, but become a realization that this is possible?
It took a lot. The first tournament I went was 2009. First world tournament I went with the national team. That was the first world tournament. Bruno went, Maxi went, a couple of the guys that they're part of the squad now. And our goal was, I'll say, to do the best we can.
Right.
And we had Lucas Mata. We had freaking Roger Clemens, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're still thinking it's like we can do the best we can. And I showed up at that tournament thinking that I was the third or the fourth pitcher, and I ended up being the second pitcher behind Roger Clemens, right?
Right.
And so we we advanced to the second round, and we lost against Japan. Actually, we took a lead 5-0, and Lucas gave up 5, and I come in 6-5 or something like that, and we couldn't score anymore. Mm-hmm. So that tournament was, okay, this is the best we can do against Japan. Japan wasn't as good as it is now, right now, but it was decent.
Right.
The very next year was 2013. And that was completely different. Like, the coaches made me think that I was the Roger Clemens, and I got the lucky to have Mariano Rivera behind me, because that was Lucas. It was like, close the doors, turn off the lights. This is over. And I think that was one of the biggest This is a funny thing. I don't know if I can tell this, but so at that point, Bruno and myself, we were like the well-known faces of the national team, 2013. And we are on the prep talk, and our coach at the time was Sabate.
Yeah.
He asked the entire team, who believes we can be world champs? And everybody was raising his hand, right? The only ones with the hand down was me and Bruno. I remember we look at each other and it's like, what the fuck, dude? It's like, we fucked it up. So the first thing he goes is like, Juan, why do you think we can be? So I'm like, well, we're not mature enough. We are not well prepared. We can have good names here. I put my entire trust in the hitters we have, but we don't play like the teams they deserve to win. And so literally, like I was completely embarrassed, right? I gotta push my team to the top, and I just fucked it up. But we beat Canada for the first time on a big stage. It was a quarterfinals or Final Four at the time, and that was when we felt we could do it. We could done this, and we got a 9-inning games against Australia, and if we would have beat Australia, we would have Venezuela, and we beat Venezuela a couple of times before, so we got a taste of what it takes to be in the top. So I think that was like the first push, and that was when we saw the idea that we could do it better. And I think the breaking point was Argentina 2014, when we beat again Canada. Sorry, guys. But, we lost against Venezuela. I never felt so frustrated in my life, losing against our rival, or our big-time rival, because emotions, not because of level, because of emotions against Venezuela in my home. That's probably one of the worst feelings ever. But I said, I don't want to lose anymore. I don't want to do it. And that's when we changed our coaches. And that's when we changed our future. That year, 2015, they decided to change our coaches to give us a chance at the Pan Ams. That was the year, actually, you guys with Canada were just ridiculous. You just killed the ISF and you killed the Pan Ams. But at that time was when Julio said, I'll take the team. And we had a conversation because he thought that I was one of the leaders of the team, one of the leading pitchers or whatever. And he told me at the time, he's like, I don't think we're going to win this one. I don't think we're going to win the next one. But you can be sure, 2019, we're going to be world champions. And I laughed. And I laughed. Because I laughed because I thought that we could have done it before, right? We had talent, we got newcomers, we got a lot of things. But we weren't even close before. And the year that he said we were going to win it, we won it. And we won it well. So I think there's a lot of things. Literally, there's a ton of things. A lot of the old players, they were dreaming with a world tournament. They did a lot of things for us to believe we could do it. We had, I'll be back. We got Lucas Mata. He's got to be the best talent we ever had. I cannot say that he's the most successful pitcher in Argentina, because we had pitchers that did better than him, but I think he was the most talented and the best pitcher we ever had. And so he's one of the first look, You can do this. Of course, you need to have the Mata talent, the Mata genes, right? You got Lucas, Wemul, and now Lucas' son, Valentin. He's outstanding too, right? I don't know what's going on over there, what they're drinking or what the fuck is going on, but those genes are doing well.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool to hear you talk about it like that. So in 2015, you had a coaching change, and the coach says to you, in 2019, we're going to win the WBSC World Champions. And 4 years later, you guys are standing on a podium in Prague as the world champions. It's amazing just to hear that. But talk to us a little bit about that championship game. And you bring up Wemu Mata, who is Lucas's younger brother. And that was his coming out party on the international stage. And that championship game was one for the record books as well. It was a pretty cool atmosphere, but you guys were playing against Japan, who you mentioned that your first event back in 2009, you lost to Japan, and now you're playing against them in 2019 championship game. Tell us a little bit about what it was like going into that game, and finally when you got to hoist that trophy.
I will tell you what was going on going to that trip. The trip was incredible. So Julio wants us to go for a tour in Rome, Italy, to play against Italian teams. That means no competition at all, right? Have you ever heard about Italian national team playing ISFs? No.
Right.
So we're thinking we're going to be in Italy playing against nobody. I mean, Seba was helping us. He was pitching for the other teams and stuff like that. But it's like no chances. And we had to do like 11 days in Rome. And then we're going to move 3 or 4 days before the ISFs or WBSC and play. And I said to Bruno, he's like, we're going to kill each other, man. Like, we are not kids. We are grow-up men. It's like a full man dude, we're going to kill each other. Literally, it's like, this is not going to happen. And literally, and we're trying to save money. So we are sleeping in shitty hotels. Well, in Italy, they help us with the hotel, so it's a little better. But, and you get people from 37, 38 years old, and then you got a kid 19 years old or 20. It's like, dude, we're gonna crossfire every single time. This is gonna be terrible. And then, you find a ping pong table. You find, the coaches let you drink a beer. You get 1 day to go to the Vatican or stuff like that, and you start doing things as a team. And we understood that we were doing that every single day when we were training. So it became an easy thing. Yeah, I think it was even harder for me because I was in Guatemala and I was training, and I had to go and meet the team and be part of them. But then we went to Czech Republic, and we had I got a match-up games against the Czech team and stuff like that. But dude, the place we were staying, oh my God, they choose that place because it was right next to a field. We had no air conditioner. We didn't have a freaking fan. Our starter pitcher had to sleep on the floor on a mattress right next to another 3 or 4 guys, because that was the only way they could fit on the room.
I remember that.
Yeah,
You remember
we played in, yeah.
Yeah, we were walking to the field, and you guys were like hanging out the windows at the park. Like,
dude,
what the fuck is going on here?
You know, it was just terrible, but we survived. Like we ate the way we could. Our thing was we go and train, and we go and do our stuff, and we go and do our rituals for the game. And I didn't, like, literally, and I think I speak for the majority of the teammates. I don't think we were convinced that we could be world champions. I think we were convinced we would be Pan American champions, but world champions was kind of like a not sure thing. Like I think we could be sure that we were top 3. Actually, something that probably nobody knows is like Remul Mata was our starter pitcher, but he went to the Worlds and we didn't know if he was good, if he was bad, if he was mediocre or nothing. Like literally he was coming from Japan, and it was a surprise for us to see how he was doing. So that tells a lot of things. First of all, the good feeling that was inside the team, because they accept me when I was outside while they were training together. They accept Mara when he was outside, when he was in Japan while they were training. And how the coaches believe in both of us. And I think I always said that the game that made us believe and made me believe we could be world champions was when we lost against Japan on the round robin. We lost against Japan. And if it was 2, 3, 4 years ago, I will see all my teammates heads down, believing that it's over, that we're not going to get over this, believing that, we'll be defeated. No, we ended up that game, and everybody was thinking on the next one. Everybody was set up on the scouting reports. Everybody was thinking and setting up their mind on the next game. That's when I said, yeah, we're going to win this shit. We're going to do it. And that was amazing. Amazing.
Wow.
The game that we played against Japan, that was crazy.
The championship game you're talking about now?
The championship game.
Yeah.
I got the kids that were junior champions. They said this is going to be the same thing that happened to Argentina when we won at juniors. We have more scouting reports of Japan than anybody else. Like our coaches focus in Japan like I never thought they would. They were looking at the games Japan was playing against New Zealand, Australia, and everything. Like literally every time that we were training, we were going to play Japan, the World Tournament final. And I couldn't believe, because I'm traditional. I thought that it would be either New Zealand, Australia, or Canada on the final. I never thought Japan would be.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that either.
I would never think it. And they were thinking that 2 years in advance. So that's wow. The first thing I think about that tournament is like, it was magic. And it was my birthday too. So that's a lot of magic. A lot of magic in the air.
Yeah. That's a nice gift.
So it's a lot of things, literally. And one of the best things that happened to me, it's I didn't pitch. I got shit on my pants, even warming up. So thank God I didn't have to come in, because I would drill one of those small Japanese on the ribs right there on the first pitch. But no, one of the best things that happened to me is like when we became world champions, we are running around the field, and every single face that I saw outside the field, the players, I knew their faces. I play with them or against them one time in my life, and everybody was happy that we won it. I saw freaking 7'1" cheese, Andrew Kirkpatrick, just, of course, smashing a beer and waving his hand and sending kisses. That was amazing because he's a freaking legend of fast pitch.
Yeah.
But I saw all of you guys, and that was like, I said it, like my career could be over right now, and I'll be happy. I just made it. And that was just an amazing feeling.
And that, all the things that you just don't realize that are going into this. You guys are going to Rome, and you're staying in this, your starting pitchers sleeping on the floor. I thought me and Hilly had it bad. We checked into this hotel, and we went up to our room, and there's just one bed in the center of the room. And remember, Hilly, we went down, and you were trying to do the translation at the front desk. They said, no, one bed. We need two beds. Here they were, two less than a single bed put together, and they just like spread their hands out like this. They just put one on one side. We went back up. We
opened the door. We never even said nothing to each other. We just turned around, went right back to the lobby. We're like, no, this is wrong.
So anyway, we didn't have it half as bad, because I remember when we went in to play you guys at that field you're talking about, Juan, where you stayed, and you guys had your jerseys hanging out on clotheslines over the balconies, and it was crazy. But awesome. I'm sure that makes it even more sweet to look back knowing all the sacrifice that went into it, and knowing that was earned. Nothing was given to you guys.
We didn't care. That bothered us the first couple of days. Then later we were playing basketball. We were making fun of each other. I was doing stylish. Like me and Mariano Montero, we were cutting our teammates' hair or beard or stuff like that. We were trying to do anything to get our time together, making a little more fun.
Right.
But we were all focused. If I can tell you how focused we were, I got my Cassidy belt for 30 days. Look at how focused I was.
Yeah,
how focused.
I tell you what, that's sacrifice, Juan.
That's a lot of sacrifice.
But you guys, so after winning that, you guys go back and you're national heroes back in Argentina. We talked to we talked to Bruno about this down in Florida a few weeks ago, and I just asked him, I said, how cool was that welcome that you guys had when you came back? And I know you weren't with the team then when they went back to Argentina, but what was the impression back in Argentina with the team going back now as world champs?
So, I couldn't go back to the team. I got one really good feeling, because I was going from the little hotel we were staying to an apartment I rented in an Airbnb on the downtown, closer to the bars, to the ladies. I got to spend one day in Prague, and I will fly from Prague straight to US. And I'm trying to open the door, and I'm still on Argentinian clothes. And this couple, they're from Argentina. They stop and they're like, "Oh my God, you play softball. You're from Argentina." And I was like, duh, of course, I got Argentina softball on my back. No, I just stole it from somebody. and they're like, "We are from Argentina." It's like, we don't know anything about softball, but we were in this bar, and on TV, you guys are playing the final of the World Champion, and we are so happy for you. So for me, that was huge. That never happened in my entire life, someone that recognized you. So I was like, yeah, so good, so good. Then I'm happy with that. And the boys start sending me all the videos of this parade they have as a welcome party. And there goes my happiness. I'm like, fuck, I should be there. Literally, they flew to Argentina. They had a lot of people from the press waiting for them on the airport. So they had like a big interviews from the big channels in Argentina. Then they jump on a bus, 6 hours. They went to Paraná. And before they get into the city, they made them go up on the roof of a firefighter's truck, right? So, and they have a 6 kilometers parade, just full of people. And these people is either the fast pitch family, the fast pitch community of Paraná, and a ton of people that they don't know anything about fast pitch, but they were so happy that the amateur sport like fast pitch, a sport that is from their city, became world champions. They never saw a game. They only saw the news. They only saw a little bit of the party after we won it and stuff like that. But they were so happy. They don't even know how you play softball. They think it's that game with a stick. But they were so proud. Like literally, they're all going around. This is winter in Argentina. It's not as bad as Newfoundland, but it's a little cold. And they said there was people from the balconies of the buildings just throwing candies and chips and stuff like that just to them, and just waving flags everywhere. It was just huge, huge. We felt like national heroes for a couple of days. That was amazing.
So have you noticed now, so a couple of years has passed, so have you noticed back home in Parana or in Argentina in general that you've piqued the interest now of, is there more kids playing that want to play ball? Is there more kids that want to be pitchers? Well, that's one thing I wanted to get at too, is the pitching development in Argentina, because it seems like now every summer there's a new Argentinian pitcher or two on a team. Like, or who's this guy? And, you know, our RG boys are like, well, this is such and such. And I was like, how old is he? 19, 20, 21. We're like, holy shit. And every year there's new guys coming over. So, I mean, what has that done with regards to growing the game?
It's the answer to that is too easy. They look at a guy like me and they said, if this guy can do it, I can sure for do it. I can do it for sure, man.
He's left-handed.
He's left-handed, anyone.
Dude, imagine how easy is softball. This guy, all he does is talk shit, and he became world champion. The sport became super popular in our city. We have a lot of more kids. We have people, they don't know about fast pitch, and they go to drink beer and watch a game. Like I remember I was for the opening day before COVID, and we had a lot of food trucks on the stadium. This is just opening day. Like, this is league, nothing else. And you get food trucks, you get people that they never watch fast pitch, and they go to drink a beer and eat some pizza and watch softball, and you get people that just go on one. We did so. We have a couple of. We made our rings for the World Champions, and we had a ceremony of the rings.
Right.
The stadium was packed. There was no game. There was nothing interesting. It was just a ceremony on the stadium, and it was packed.
Wow.
Just people want to go and watch what we're doing. You know, taking pictures to the rings and stuff like that. You know, in Argentina, it's not common, the thing of rings. It's like you get a medal, that's it. You get a trophy, that's it. So the press was pretty enthusiastic about the rings and stuff like that. So we got a ton of people. Now, last weekend was the national tournament, and we couldn't stream it because there was not enough money to do it. But the stadiums were packed. There's a lot of people, and they told me that every single game, it doesn't matter if it's just a low-level teams or whatever, was packed. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure, and I know the people that is involved on the Pan Am qualifier now in April, that's going to be super fun. And I said it before, I don't remember when, but if any Canadian wants to go to Argentina, the ticket to go there is going to be a little expensive, but over there, everything is cheap now. Just don't bring your credit card, bring cash. And don't bring that plastic money you're using in Canuck Town. But yeah, I'll give you some advices later when we cut off how you can spend a good time super cheap over there. I think the tournament is going to be amazing. So if you can do it, if the family can do it, it's a very familiar place. I know Latin America is not well seen with safety and stuff like that, but Paraná is super safe. And the atmosphere on the stadiums are super family friendly. I absolutely recommend it.
There you go.
Yeah, we've been. Well, that's one thing I was going to say. I've been there back in, when was it, 2014, and it was, yeah, like you said, it was a beautiful place to visit and super safe. And the The ribs, the steaks, awesome.
Oh yeah, steak over there is great. It's really good. And I tell you what, if you became friend with one of the people on the stands, one of the fanatics, they'll invite you to their house to eat steak, to eat their barbecue, and that would be better than any restaurant.
I heard you have some. I didn't make it for that trip down there, but I heard you got some pretty interesting mascots running around the ball field.
Oh, that's a good story.
The alligator.
Yeah, we have
Tell us a little bit about the alligator, Ron.
It's an alligator. Yeah, in Argentina we got one kind of alligator. It's called yacare. So that was our mascot, and we're playing against Canada, 2014. This is the semifinal. The winner goes against Venezuela on the final. Canada is beating us by 2 runs, 2 outs. Bruno swings to a change-up in the floor, and Abe's can caught it, takes the ball, throws it away. So Bruno's still running, and we score 3 runs on that inning. So we go ahead, right? And that's when the coach is like, okay, Juan, you got to close the game. So I'm like, nice. When warm up, when I come back. So this is not even an inning. I warm up a little bit. When I came back, the mascot got inside the field. This is during the game. They got to call time because the mascot got into the field, goes to third base. Derek Mason is on third base. And he's a pretty big dude, man. Pretty big dude. And he's not a guy to pick on. You know, he gets a little worked up pretty quick. And the mascot start jumping and dancing around Derek Mason on third base. All around. And I could see this guy just going furious, right? And this is the most stupid thing to do. I felt embarrassed. So I'm right next to the door on the dugout. I got out of the dugout, and I grabbed the mascot. And Fernando Petric was with me. He grabbed the mascot too. And we just pushed the guy outside the freaking field. And when I pushed him out, I just grabbed the freaking head and took it off because I was mad. And I look at the face. It's like, oh, wait. This is not the kid that's supposed to be the mascot. So then I found out that someone got completely drunk, stole the outfit, stole the costume, put the costume on, and jumped inside the field to just go around freaking Mason like that.
That's wicked,
man. I feel so embarrassed. Like really, I couldn't look at any Canadian after that until I saw Jeff Ellsworth on the stand with a freaking drums, just going like this, all the noise and everything. I was like, okay, they got over.
Well, folks, we've been involved in a lot of tough games over the years. And after those, we like to debrief with an ice-cold Miller Lite. With its great Pilsner taste and only 90 calories and 3 grams of carbs per serving, after every tough game, it's always Miller time. Please drink responsibly. Juan, you mentioned last weekend was the Nationals there. You're a 10-time Argentina national champion. And I'll just pause for a second to go through, just for our listeners who may not be as familiar with you as we are. 10-time national champion in Argentina, 2-time ISC champ, 3-time ASA champ, and as we talked about, 2019 WBSC World Champ and 2019 Pan Am Games gold medalist. Hell of a career. But you mentioned that the Nationals were last weekend, and as a 10-time champ, you probably heard us talk a little bit about the Nationals in Canada, knowing and playing with a lot of Canadians over your career. How does the Nationals in Argentina compare? Are there provinces? Is it across the country? What's the structure?
Okay, so if you ask any Argentinian, he would tell you the Nationals is the best tournament in the world. Even when we know that level-wise is not even compared with ISCs or other tournaments around the world. It's a pride thing. So in Argentina, you play with your team from the beginning to the end. You know, not many players change teams. And when you change team, you are looking like a traitor. So Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. So, I mean, I moved from my junior team to a prime division team because my junior team didn't have anywhere to grow. They didn't have first division. So I had to move to a team in Paraná. But the rest of the players, they don't move at all. So you start playing and with your friends. You start playing with guys that they go to school with you, or guys that they're from the same neighborhood or stuff like that. So they become your best friends. So you end up your career playing with your best friends. I said, when I first started playing for this team, the first game I went, one of my friends took me to his house. He was never one of the major players on the team, but when he retired, I bought that nationals. I was wearing his number on my jersey, stuff like that. So it's a pride thing. When I start playing for this team, it's called Estudiantes, which is students. I had 1/3 of the national team playing with me. And so we won it easily the first couple of times. They retired, and Bruno's team took that leadership, right? They start winning everything. And then was the Bruno's team against my team. Then after that, Don Bosco, which is Roman Godoy, Sabate's team, Nikos Carril team was the number one. And right now, there's another team, but it's a pricing. There's a lot of proud on it, and you keep playing for your flag, for your team. The rivalry is so big that actually between my team and Bruno's team, they made one documental about the rivalry. Well, I mean, in Argentina, they made a documental about the best rivalities in every single sport. So when they did softball, was my team against his team.
That's crazy.
It's pretty good, actually. It was pretty good.
That's awesome. So it's
cool.
Yeah.
So
So
pretty fun.
it's the pride thing. So right from school age up to when you retire, these guys are all playing together. That's a pretty special environment. Hilly, we talk about some of the leagues back in Newfoundland and playing for provinces and the pride. It's cool to get a different take on that whole level of ball, right from grassroots up to the international world stage, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like, obviously our league is a lot smaller scale than that, but it sounds kind of like, all right, you stick with the team, you get drafted by a team, you stay with those guys. If you get traded or you go to another team, you feel like a traitor, right? But it's a big rivalry, and when you get to the big games, and it's cutthroat between the lines. Like after the game, you're talking to your national team teammates or whatnot, and people you travel with and play travel ball with. But between the lines, even though your teammates on the weekends, it's cutthroat, man. That's awesome.
I know nationals in Canada is a big rivalry, even more when Matthew Rowe runs into your pitcher, right?
Matty Waugh, he's had a couple of run-ins on a couple of different nationals, yeah, but it gets heated, man. There's some bench clearing brawls, but it's we got ours coming up in Newfoundland, so it's getting to play at home, so that's going to be a big way to cap off ours. And it's just the pride. You have pride for any team that you play for, but getting to play for your province at home at a national championship, it's especially in front of your home fans, your family, the pride level hits a little deeper. But
it's an absolute thing. Like so the nationals in Argentina, it's the last nationals, 41 teams. It's four divisions, and every year the best of the two best of every division goes up, and the two last of every division goes down.
That's cool, man.
The division goes moving, and so you get like Estudiantes. We said we are the only team that never went down. The other teams always went down, and we are the only team that won it 3 times in a row, twice. So once you win the same title 3 times in a row, you keep the trophy, right?
Oh, cool. Cool.
So every time you get 2 trophies in a row, like everybody is going to be cheering against you. Because nobody wants you to win it 3 times in a row, right?
Yeah.
So
that's cool. It just shows the
it gets super heated.
But Juan, we need to go through your ISC career, man. It's we touched on a lot of international stuff, the local and national stuff within Argentina, but you've had a fantastic ISC career. You're a 2-time champ. I want to go into that in a minute, but you've been a part of some pretty big games, and the one that sticks out to me, I think it was the 2011 ISC. People call it the game, especially for our era of ball players around our age. That game that you played, you're with the Minnesota Angels, and you're playing against Pennsylvania Power. They had Sean Clary pitching, and you guys went in an absolute barn burner of a 13-inning game. That one, you got to remember that one, do you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember it. You know what I remember that game? Every time that I get out of focus, I try to go back to the idea of that game. I was coming back to the bench, and I was thinking who was coming to hit. I was thinking on the sequence, like I wasn't watching my teammates to my offensive. I wasn't watching. I was completely focused. And I didn't realize that Clary was having like a no-hitter until the end. I didn't realize I was having a perfect game until Nico got the error. I didn't realize any of the game. Like the game passed so fast for me and so slow for the people on the stands. Like till today, people was coming and saying, oh my God, like that game, I loved it because it was a great game, but I hated it because I was the entire night over there. And but it was a fun game. Was a great challenge against Clary. I always said, like, I think that was the beginning where we were starting being seen like on the big page of ISC, and the both of us, we had a great game, and the game itself was amazing. Like I could have lost the game on the 9th inning when Rosic hit a bomb over my left fielder, and lucky was there because my left fielder was like 7.2, like 7 feet 2 inches, like huge, massive guy. He jumped over and caught the ball, and that is called a catch. It's in YouTube. And the funny thing is, like, I was at Rosic is from New York. Greg Leder is from New York. He keeps sending that video to Rosic once in a while, or he keeps just taking picture of me and send it to Rosic, and he said, do you remember this guy? He's like, that's when the F word comes for. Yeah. But the game was a good game, was a good challenge, and was a good year. So I got it on my heart, and I got a lot of people remembering it and talking about it. So that was a good thing.
Yeah, I remember that it was a late game. I remember showing up to the park the next day, and it was all the buzz. I mean, that game had it all. You had 2 no-hitters going, or a no-hitter and a perfect game going. You had a crazy catch, and then you had a home run to end it, man. It was wild.
Before anything, if we're going to keep talking about 2011, please, Healy, don't talk.
Well, I didn't want to bring it up. I mean, the next game, you ran into a bit of trouble there, but I didn't want to bring it up. I mean, you're free to speak on it, but I mean, I didn't want to bring it up.
I remember my Dominican catcher calling a curveball, a backdoor curveball. And I see the ball breaking in a little too much, and I see your swing. I'm like, oh shit! And that was it. That was the end of a good tournament. You and Dean Holloway on the mound.
That was late too. That was probably like 6th inning, or
yeah, that was the 6th inning.
It was 0-0. Yeah,
you got a good memory for that. I hope you got a good memory for the next one.
Yeah, I'm a lot younger than you two, right? I can remember stuff.
Oh,
right. Well, listen, you don't know what to say. You know Hilly a long time. That it's exhausting having to listen to him sometimes, but yeah, that was a really cool game. As you mentioned, that's where you and Sean really emerged as those guys that are the next era of elite ball players within the ISC, each as the ace on your national team as well, right? And you talk about your approach to building a team. Any team that you join, you're bringing that to it, which makes you kind of really fit in as a leader and building the culture. And it leads me to, I guess probably we'll wrap it up talking about the Gremlins organization. And you won 2 world championships with them, with the ISC. Can you talk a little bit about that Gremlins team and what makes it special, and the success that they've had over the last number of years?
Absolutely. I'll give you like an intro. I learned it with the time that as a pitcher, majority of the teams, they will hire a pitcher for a weekend. So you got to go and feel with the team. You gotta be part of a team that they play together every single time, and you gotta be one of them in just one weekend. So if you are not a good person, if you are not open, if you are not extroverted, you're gonna spend a really bad time.
Yeah.
And so you gotta be like open mind and go and relax and doing a lot of things. And once I learned that, I wanted to be the guy that brings the team together, and I did it. I had the lucky to do it many times. One of those times was with a great organization that was Scarborough Force. The Skelton family was one of the best teams to play with, and they let me do that. And the reason they let me do that was because we had a ton of Latinos, and I was the one that was speaking fluent English.
Yeah.
And then I thought that every team would be like that. And I went to the Gremlins, and you got 7 guys like that, and I think that's the main thing about it. Every team has a couple of jerks. We hide them. We don't let them see the thing. I think I'm on one of them, but you get a lot of foreigners. They're living in houses. We do things together. We try to, during the week, either go to drink, go to dinner, go to, I don't know, golf or anything, trying to do it together, train together. And you became part of that. And I think one of the best pieces of the puzzle, or the biggest pieces of the puzzle, is for sure Greg Leather. The first time I met Greg, I was like, well, this guy has no idea what the fuck softball is about. And then I met him better, and I have to bite my tongue. He knows fast pitch. He knows about building a team. He knows everything. Like, he is in every single detail. It's ridiculous. He sees the loopholes of everything. I said it before. If you give him the Argentinian constitution, he will find a loophole. And but we have a chat with the Gremlins. He will be a guy that keeps that on the line. Like, he will keep the team together even on winter. He will be calling you to see if you need something in Argentina. He will be calling me. So we got a really tough situation in December. When we were before ASAs, Ladislao Malasuk, Lasho, he found out his dad had cancer, right? So I was living with him. I saw how bad it was for him to stay in U.S. while his dad was in Argentina. Well, he still went to ASAs and hit 875 or something like that. It was ridiculous. But so when the season was over, Argentina airport was closed. And literally, Greg Leather came and said, I don't care how much it cost. We need to get this kid in Argentina. And he was he was the only one. Him and the other coaches were the only ones that I told the situation. And they were like, we need to get this kid in Argentina. He cannot spend one more day in the U.S. I don't care how much it is. We're going to get him in Argentina. December, his dad passed. And so, of course, I wrote on the team chat about it. And everybody was concerned, and everybody was, sending him his, his condolences.
Yeah.
The team sent flowers to the funeral and everything. But I got Greg Leather calling me for like an hour, talking about it, and asking me how to approach Telasho. And I got Greg Hicks crying like a kid on the phone to me about it. Greg Hicks, I know he looks, sorry, Hicksy, if you're listening to this, he looks like a freaking cocky motherfucker, right? You see him out of the field and you're like, this Missouri guy freaking living in California. It's like, he's a big shot. He's the nicest guy ever. Like literally, like every time we talk in the phone, he's like, I love you, Juan. I love you, motherfucker. And every time we see each other, and that's one big thing that makes the Gremlins team as a big team. We got probably the biggest clown in fast pitch. Bar Mathiosian is got to be one of the best guys to have around. You can make fun of him the entire day. I mean, and he's going to fire back. You know he's going to fire back, and it's going to be funny.
Yeah. He's going to come on here with us in a couple of weeks to
my God, dude.
Yeah, we got him lined up, and we're excited about that.
Literally. Now, nobody's going to miss that. Please bring the Borat suit on the conversation.
Yeah, all right, we'll bring up the Borat suit.
Bring the Borat suit on the conversation. The prep talk before the game is like, well, we know what we have to do, right? But outside, you get 1,000 words, you get 1,000 jokes, you get million of things. Like literally, Greg already learned it that if he doesn't want to hear me on the dugout, he got to send me to warm up because I talk shit all day. But it's an amazing thing, man. And every single team I play for has something that was super good. Aurora Donald Murphy was a great team to grow up with. The guys over there were we got such a good stories, man. There was once, I'm gonna do this short. We rented a house, and actually a couple of the guys rented a house, and every Wednesday we were having a party, right? So
like you would on a Wednesday, yeah.
Lucky Wednesday they call it down in Dolan.
Because we don't have weekends. We don't have weekends. So we had a party every weekend, and every weekend was a keg and a bunch of people, and we ended up drinking on the porch, right? One day, this is like, I don't know, like 5:00 afternoon on Thursday. I'm picking up the cans and all the garbage and everything. And one lady comes in at the house and he's like, excuse me. I say, can I ask you for a favor? I'm like, yeah. He's like, can you pick up all the garbage like the night before? I look at her, I was like, this is my house. Why do I have to do that? It's like, well, I understand, but like across the street, like right across the street, we have a AA facility. And they got to wait at the door, and they got to look like every night that you had a party there. It's like, can you do it before?
Was it the AA facility across the street?
AA facility across the street. And we had a party every single time.
That's bad. But Juan, we can tell the passion that you have for all the teams that you play with, and just it was great to hear your approach to the game. And there's no surprise the success that you've had, and it's awesome to have you on here. There's so much more that we could go in, but just we'll keeping track of time here. We'll do a round two with Juan and probably get some more of the fun stories going. But Hilly, he's one of the best for a reason, man, on and off the field, isn't he?
Yeah, buddy. Thanks for doing this, man. It's hard to, I was thinking about it, it's hard to believe that it's going on almost 20 years now, Lolly, that we've been playing against Juan and sharing the diamond, and all these ISCs, all these tournaments, all these battles, all these curveballs, man. It's been a wild ride, buddy, and it was great to get you on here to catch up.
Man, thank you very much. I really, really enjoy doing it. I could be the entire night here, 2 or 3 times if it's necessary. It's been super fun, and I gotta thank you a lot for not asking for one of my dirty stories. That makes a good but yeah, for real, and thank you for having me here. It's an amazing compliment knowing that, as you said, a couple of the best challenges, the best rivalities I remember was against you guys. Just, being white and green, gray and green against you guys, white and blue or black and blue. Yeah. You know, we had a lot of story of rivalry, always as a gentleman. I think if there was a couple of words or a couple of bad looks or something, it makes part of the rivalry more interesting. But it's part of this beautiful thing that is softball. This amazing thing that makes more interesting to be part of a squad, more heartwarming, you know, to feel that outside of the field, you know, Monday, you got to go and work Monday. Yeah. So that means on Sunday we can have fun. And I don't know, you know, this is funny, but the time that I felt one good name on fast pitch, it wasn't playing. It was one time that I could get into the beer tent and be right next to a couple of ridiculous big names, Robbie Gray, Dino, was Lally there, was Robbie Schweier, like a lot of names, just telling stories, telling jokes, making fun of each other. Like that was when I'm like, oh, you know, this is better than being the book. I don't care about Hall of Fame. Like these guys are Hall of Fame, but you know, they start telling stories, and this is like the fun stuff, right? Oh my God, yeah, man, that was,
and you fit in coming over with that language barrier, and just as you say, getting fluent, and you come in and you're able to bring in your buddies that you're bringing over. It's so cool, man. And
I remember 2012 was Erie, and we were playing the final, the Gremlins against Hill, and was just pouring rain, just start pouring like crazy. So we gotta go and get into that shitty ass bar across the street. It was like a biker's bar, right? And it was raining more inside the bar than outside, but it was the only chance we could do a thing.
I remember that, man.
So we went on a run, and Lally grabbed a guitar, of course. And he's singing the lobster song and telling the Newfies joke. Dude, I was like, this is my place. Here comes. So it was like joke against joke against joke, just making fun. Man, that's fast pitch. That's fast pitch.
Yeah, it's cool, buddy. And I can't wait to, we're still doing it, right? So hopefully we get to meet up multiple times this summer. I know you guys will see each other down in Piranha in April. Watch out for the alligators.
I'll try to go to Piranha. I'm not. I quit to the national team. They got enough kids with a lot of talent. I might go and cheer for the mascot.
That's awesome, buddy. Well,
Jacare.
Oh, very good. Look at you.
Yeah. Now look at all Hilly there. Look, you're gonna fit in down there, buddy.
He's working.
Because I'll know what to call the fucker if he comes on the field again.
Boys, that's a great way to wrap her up. Juan, you're a beauty. Can't wait to see you. Thanks a ton for doing this, buddy. And we got Lucas and Nick here. A little bit of rum ragged to take us in.
Ladies man, but I'm unhappy now. For courting 6 girls all at once they use me.
Bye-bye baseball!
My mother said it was naughty, but I said if it's naughty, sure it's also very fun.
And the lolly drops his glove, grabs Dalton. The benches are clearing.